Hello my baboos, my name's Kate and this is my art. You're welcome. So I realize that this challenge is like so old at this point, like too old to probably be doing this video, but I'm okay with it. I just really wanted to try it and I couldn't do it until I was finished with finals and final projects for school for my summer semester, so here I am. So I just kind of like doodled this cute little swamp girl until I kind of came up with a final image, and this is kind of where I ended up going with it. At first she kind of looks like the ogres from WoW, but I think she gets better over time. Initially I decided to make a girl with orchids in her eyes, and that kind of like went from there, adding like the swamp motif. I just really like orchids and I like that they grow in kind of unexpected environments, and so that's kind of why I decided to go with this swampy theme. So she has mud for hair, and I really tried to like get good textures for her hair. Not sure how well that went, but at least I tried. I like to use the Kyle T. Webster brushes, mostly because they're the only brushes I've ever tried. But they, I think, really work with my style, especially the watercolor ones. I'm actually pretty new to digital art, you might be able to tell from the way I handle things, but I really like the splatter effects that it gives, especially for like textures and freckles like on her skin. So the ferns, I had kind of trouble with them because I was trying to make them as realistic as I could get them, without going away from my style, but I don't want them to look flat either, you know? So I did a lot of like shading with like the effects on Photoshop, and then I like added textures and stuff. Eventually I kind of got it to where I wanted. I had to do some erasing to kind of give it a little bit more of a 3D effect, like it's not just on top of her head, but it's like integrated into her mud hair. I don't know how well it went, but I'm happy with the end result, so whatever. Anyway, so I like to do this fun thing where I always do the thing that I'm most excited about doing last, and that was actually the Spanish moss for me. I just really love it. I think it looks super cool. I've always wanted to do an illustration with Spanish moss. I finally got to. Anyway, that's the final product. Really happy with it. I think it probably could have been better. I wish I had more original characters to do, but I don't, so here we are with this cute little swamp siren. Then I wanted to do this drawing. I found it on Twitter, but I think it was originally posted on Instagram. I just think it's super cute. I love this person's style. I love the color palette. I just love like the big, gigantic eyes and the big lips. Your girl loves some pastels, let me just say. And I also felt like their style is very different from mine, so I thought it'd be a good thing to do. So I started out with a sketch, obviously, and I kind of had trouble with the hair. A couple times it looked too Cinderella, so I kind of messed with it, but eventually I was happy with it. Oh yeah. Anyway, so I started adding like flat colors. Like I said, I'm really new to Photoshop. I kind of approach it the same way I approach watercolor, where I block out color and then I add details. Obviously there's some differences. I can be a lot messier in Photoshop because it's easier to erase. But I don't know, I'm really kind of into digital art right now and don't really want to stop, so. I know that a lot of people say that new digital artists use the smudge tool too much, and I feel like I'm really self-conscious of that because of it. So I try to not overdo it, and I make sure I use not the original but like a watercolor one, just so it's kind of got my aesthetic and my style to it. I don't know, I probably still overuse it, but I like the way it looks, so I'm not gonna stop. I'm really happy with the way this one ended up looking. I kind of wish I hadn't added all those lines to the hair. I wish I'd kind of kept it more simple with just the few lines at the edge of her like fringe and the bottom of her hair, and then some highlights, but you win some, you lose some. I was actually really proud of the bows. I felt like I really got good shape and shadow without having to rely too much on line work. So again, I like to do my favorite part last, and that was actually the tears. And one of the things I love about digital art is being able to lower opacity, and the fact that I can do that and make these cool tear effects in Photoshop is just like mind-blowing to me. So I adore it, and that was my favorite part. I'm really happy with it, and I feel like it's a good representation of the original and my style. So for this one, I also found this one on Twitter, and I was drawn to it like right away. I just love the colors. I love like poofy outfits. And then I read the artist's description informing me that this character is a he, and I just like instantly fell in love because I just love like androgynous characters and people. I love men who are feminine or women who are masculine and just kind of go against the norm. I think it's really cool. Obviously I love men that are masculine and women that are feminine, but like I just love things that are considered abnormal because I feel like it makes you realize that it really isn't that abnormal. But yeah, I started working on this. It's kind of different from my usual style. I normally draw really big ears on characters, so it was kind of weird having these kind of like lamb ears. I'm not sure what kind of ears they are, but they look like lamb ears to me, so. But I think it was really cool to kind of step out of my comfort zone. I had a hell of a time with this freaking hand. I drew it so many times. I was getting so angry. I adjusted things. I hated it so much. Yeah, I ended up doing it multiple times. I stopped, went to other things, tried it again. Eventually it finally worked and I was happy with it, but God, that hand was insane. I hated it so much. Hands are not my forte. I'm not amazing at them, but like, I have not had this much trouble with a hand in a long time. So it was very frustrating. Anyway, so once I was done with the sketch, I started working on the line work. I really enjoy doing this solid like black line. And then as I'm coloring things in, I like to lock the line art layer and paint the lines a darker shade of whatever the color they're surrounding is, just to kind of like blend the lines a little bit. You might notice that I go from coloring the shirt and then suddenly a bunch of the dress is already shaded in, and that's because I started coloring and didn't realize I wasn't recording. Pretty new to this, not used to always having OBS on, so here we are. The other thing I love about Photoshop is the adjustment tools. You just can't get that in watercolor, and watercolor obviously has its benefit, but I just love when I can't quite get a color right that I can just adjust it in Photoshop until I get more of blue tones rather than the red tones that were originally in this piece. I think it gives me a lot more options, and I don't know, maybe I'm lazy, but I just can never get the tones right when I'm painting in watercolor, especially for darker skin, and it drives me insane because I love the way that darker skin looks on characters, especially when they're wearing really light clothes like this, or have like he does, this beautiful gray hair. So yeah, like I said, I absolutely loved the outfit. That was like the first thing that drew me to him. I just love that big old sweater and then like this cute poofy dress. It's just sweet. It's very sweet. Also, obviously, I saved the magic till the end because that was the part I was most looking forward to. I was just really excited to add like the haze and the opacity to it and all the little sparkles. So yeah, that was my favorite part. Then I add this cute little background, kind of similar to what the original artist did, and then I was done. So yeah, those are my Draw This in Your Style paintings. I hope you like them. If you decide to draw my little swamp siren, feel free to tag me on Twitter or Instagram. My information is in the end card and down in the description box below. Yeah, please like and subscribe, and have a good day. Okay, bye.